I finished the first 8 episodes of the Amazing Digital Circus, and I'm very excited to see what the ending is going to end up being. Is our favorite character going to escape? Will Kinger somehow save his wife? Is Caine really gone? Who knows? But while watching TADC, something small stood out to me. One of the original programmers of the circus was dying.
He was trying to make something. What was it? I'm getting off track.
Death is probably one of the largest fears we all share collectively, and for that reason, many have looked for ways to extend our lives. Some change their diets, some work out, some explore alternative methods, and some do various combinations of these things. But if we were face to face with death, what would we do to survive? In 2015, I played a video game named SOMA, and that forced me to look at how artificial ways to extend our lives may be a special kind of hell that I have never really considered before. Today, I'm going to look at the Amazing Digital Circus and SOMA as I explore the possibility of living forever, and maybe in one of the worst ways possible. From this point on, I will be spoiling SOMA and discussing the storyline so far of the Amazing Digital Circus, so you have been warned of spoilers and yada yada. Alright, so let's start off with exactly who we are and what we are experiencing. First off, the Amazing Digital Circus gives us a wonderful intro sequence showing us all of the characters, especially Pomni, who is a woman who looks exactly like a cartoon jester, and also just discovered she is trapped inside the circus with no memory of her original name and no means of escape. Pomni here is who we will be following along with mostly through the story.
I'm sorry, could you speak up? I couldn't quite make that out.
Here we meet the cast, and of course the caretaker and literal big mouth, Caine. He seems genuinely nice enough, and his main goal is to keep the crew and circus entertained. But he's not like the rest of the cast since he's not actually alive, he's just an AI that has one job: take care of the cast. Since we can't seem to figure out how to wake up, and our new friends inform us that there's actually no escape, we rightfully go through a bit of an existential crisis. Our newest friend, Ragatha, decides she wants to give us a tour, and we follow along to the missing member of the crew's living quarters. The clown, Cosmo, I think is his name. This is when we encounter the horror of our current existence. Beyond being stuck, we can still decay inside the circus. Our clown friend has become what is known as abstracted, which is what happens when your mental state falls so much, you are no longer you. You're just a living, hostile, and dangerous compilation of unorganized and glitching data. Now, one huge thing that really caught my attention immediately was the music.
Lay off it. Since when are you an expert on the digital world?
Expert on the what?
The rest of the series features different adventures and a lot of character moments, and yeah, they're quite touching. The storyline has been compared to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which, yeah, also I can 100% see that. I have never read that short story, but all the YouTubers who talk about it say it's really good, so check it out if that's your thing. And also shout out to the author. What I have read was the description of SOMA on Steam. The first thing is it's from the creators of Amnesia: The Dark Descent, and it's a sci-fi horror game set below the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. Struggle to survive a hostile world that will make you question your very existence. Yes, SOMA. Yes, you did. In SOMA, we play as a man named Simon. Unfortunately, we suffered a car accident not too long ago that resulted in our friend Ashley losing her life and us receiving extensive brain damage. Now, faced with the very real possibility of death, we decide to undergo an experimental brain scan to hopefully help us find a cure for our current prognosis. We show up at the doctor's office, building, place, very fancy, and they place us inside of a chair with a headset. Everything turns white, and when we open our eyes and get out of the machine, our environment seems to have shifted drastically. The lights are damaged, the area is dark, and the inhabitants are dangerous. We got the triple D. Somehow, someway, we are in Pathos 2, and like the game tells you, it's set at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. We do come across a couple living things, but we're in the dark about our new place, at least until we meet a living thing named Catherine. I say thing because Catherine claims to be human, but she doesn't have a human body. There's going to be more on that here in a bit, but luckily, Catherine fills in the gaps we're missing on what happened. First of all, we are in fact at the bottom of the ocean, and humanity as we know it is extinct. A massive meteor smashed into the surface, wiping out the entirety of the population, and the only reason why Pathos 2 survived is because it was at the bottom of the ocean. Now, all of this is a lot for us to take in, especially since we were just at the doctor's office, so the math doesn't really math. At least until we realize something that's pretty important. Simon died hundreds of years ago. We are a copy of Simon as he was on the day of the doctor's visit. That's why we remember that as our last memory. That day, the doctors placed us in some kind of head-scanning headset and copied us. They copied our memories. They copied our personality. All of us. Just a copy of someone else who died a long, long time ago. Now I'm going to take us a little bit out of the story and tell you that when I first heard this, my mind exploded. I don't think I considered us being a copy at all during my initial playthrough until this part. I was expecting some kind of like VR headset or maybe some kind of like, I don't know, isekai or brain damage thing, but definitely not a copy of somebody else. Especially since SOMA does a wonderful job of hiding the reveal behind our own unreliable narrative. Let me ask you something. How often do you actually pay attention to things like your hands as they swing, or as they grab things? Probably moderately on the last one because you have to pay attention, but not as much on that first. As we run through Pathos 2, we don't really pay close attention to our hands at all, but they look human as we do more and more things. However, eventually, as we learn the truth, our hands no longer look human, and our unreliable perspective catches up with reality. We saw what we wanted to see, which is really as terrifying to me as the idea of death, if not maybe worse. So in the Digital Circus, we learn bits of lore from Kinger and the others as we explore more and more of our new world. One thing we don't explore deeply, but we really should have, was one of the first people stuck inside of the circus was also one of the creators, and he was dying. In fact, the original group seemed to consist of what I would assume to be the whole programming team that worked with Kinger and Scratch, who we also learned was the first abstracted. Now this stands out because it wouldn't surprise me if the Digital Circus is something like what happened in SOMA. We place a VR headset to play a video game and somehow, intentionally or not, we copy our personalities, storing them in the Digital Circus with Caine. We may not be able to escape, and really, we don't have anywhere to escape to. We don't actually have a body. We don't have a place. We are technically nothing. In the same way, you can't escape your current world and live outside of the universe as we know it, we can't exist outside of the actual coding in the circus, as well as the void encompassing it. I'm really not a film theorist, I leave that to the professionals, so my evidence is really all vibes and pure observation, but it does make sense to me. As we explore more of the circus and we explore more adventures, we can start to see similarities between the circus and our horror game from 2015.
There must be something wrong. Can't you run a diagnosis or something?
What was that?
No, it just...
Why was it still talking?
It's...
We run across a moment where we have to upgrade our diving suit to handle the pressure at the lower parts of the ocean. With Catherine's help, we transfer our consciousness to our newest suit, but after completing the transfer, we hear our own voice coming from the previous body we had.
You were copied. The sleeping Simon in the seat was copied, and now you are here, just like Simon lived on in Toronto.
God damn you, Kath. 2 Simons? There can't be 2 Simons.
I'm sorry, it wouldn't work that way.
You realize how messed up this is?
Please, I didn't mean to upset you.
How did you expect me to react to this shit?
Please.
This is a pretty horrifying experience, especially if you've never had a twin, so we are pretty confused. Catherine does explain to us, though, we don't just transfer like we think, we copy over. We wake up in our new body, but we also wake up in the old body too. We just can't share the perspective of 2 different living versions of us. As we continue through Pathos 2, we learn about the all-intelligent but pretty unwise AI named the WoW. The WoW is responsible for crafting the horrors of the world we inhabit. While the main goal for us to survive is to activate a digital paradise and launch it into space, we also have to avoid the WoW the entire time. The machine kept consciousness and other things alive, but they weren't really living, not in the least bit. We really are forced to face the consequences of artificially extending our lives, and what happens to who we leave behind. Each of our copies have our same memories and emotional continuity, but each version is its own separate consciousness. At the end of the game, we finally reach the Omega Space Gun, which is a massive railgun designed to launch the digital paradise into space. We upload the Ark, and we perform one final scan so our consciousness can join the paradise. The launch succeeds, but when we open our eyes...
I'm still here. Catherine? Catherine?
I'm here.
What the hell happened? What went wrong?
Nothing. They're out there, among the stars. We're here.
No. We were getting on the Ark. I saw it. It finished loading just before it launched.
Yeah, I saw.
Then why are we still here?
Simon.
We are still underwater. We are still trapped inside Pathos 2. And we are still at the bottom of the ocean. We didn't transfer to the Ark. We'd only sent a copy. We didn't get to continue to the us in the Ark. The us that we've been playing as continues on at the bottom of the ocean. To make it worse, our only friend Catherine, her hardware, suddenly fails, leaving us entirely alone at the bottom of the ocean in a dead world. After the credits of the game, we are shown that the copied version of Simon wakes up safely inside the Ark. Sunlight comes through the trees and Catherine greets him peacefully. And humanity in some form does continue. To me, that's what makes SOMA one of the most psychologically disturbing stories ever created. And I think this is a very real fate for us in the circus as well. I don't know exactly what the ending will be, and the movie isn't officially out, so who knows where our ultimate fate is going to be. I hope you enjoyed this discussion of 2 stories that I found really emotionally anchoring and deeply thoughtful. I for sure will be in theaters to see the Amazing Digital Circus's final episode, and I hope to see our friends find a way out. But I'm worried we will never find the real exit door. Maybe we will find ourselves in more like a purgatory than a real paradise after death. I hope you all enjoyed this quick discussion of these 2 amazing stories that I love, and if you haven't played through SOMA or watched the Amazing Digital Circus, I do highly recommend them. Both of these stories are worth experiencing, even if you know the spoilers. So, thank you all for joining me on this discussion. I'm Tim, the Brunicardi Archives. So, until next time, be good to yourselves and each other. Peace.